Booktube, and welcome to this birthday live stream where you get to ask me any questions you like. Doesn't particularly matter what they are. They can be about books, they can be not be about books, wherever you like. I should say in the chat you'll see a link to StreamYard, so if you want to come on as a guest, you can. I should say though that the version for each StreamYards I use is the free one, and so there's a restriction of 6 people, 6 guests. Though I don't know if that 6 includes me or not. So if you can't get on, don't worry. At some point, somebody will leave, and then you can come back. You can come on. So whenever you like. So I'll just go through the chat and see you. DK. So if you want to start asking me questions, you're more than welcome.
Well, we're going to start with how old are you?
I'm 34.
Oh, I guessed it pretty close. Remember, I said you were half my age.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I do have to sometimes remind myself it is that age because I've got female relatives who will tell me, no, you're 35 or you're 33. I have to keep looking at the calendar to make sure it is actually the right date. I'm actually the right age.
And did you go to the pub today, Aaron?
Yes, the pub's just down the road, less than 2 minutes walk. So I went down there and had a drink with my sister and my stepdad. And so I've come back about half an hour ago and got everything set up. And also, I should mention at this point, I've told these gentlemen that I've ordered a takeaway, which was meant to be between 8 o'clock and 20 past 8. So if I disappear for a few seconds, for around a minute, that's where I will be. Oh, and I believe...
What you order?
Yeah. Kebab and chips.
Nice.
I believe this is your good lady wife, Steve. Am I right?
It is indeed, yeah.
Oh, thank you. So if you've got any more questions...
I'm still getting a lot of freezing, so I'm just going to try popping in and out again.
Oh, okay. So, any of you have got any questions?
Did you get any books for your birthday?
I bought myself one, and actually this one I want to I will bring up because it's a book that's got a story behind it that's taken me years to get hold of. So bear with me a second. It is this. Not sure if that can you read that? It's The Impact of Labour by Maurice Cowling. It's about the rise of the Labour Party in Britain. Now, this and another book he wrote called The Impact of Hitler, which covers the effect of Hitler had on British politics from 1933 to 1940. However, I've got that, and it cost me reasonably cheaply about £15. But I read this in about 2015, and I've not been able to find this until a week ago for less than about 35 quid. And I found this on 8 books for £3 and £2.50 postage. So I got it. Yeah. And when I read it at university, it was in the paperback edition as well. So it's a really rare find. I mean, a few months ago, I saw a copy of this, and I think it was paperback going for about £5. So getting this for £3 is great. So, and I will be reading that in September.
Is that where you normally look for a lot of books?
Yeah, I do like
to. You'd go on 8 books a lot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because it tends to have cheaper books than eBay necessarily, usually, and a lot cheaper than Amazon usually. I remember when I used to be able to go on Amazon and get a book for sort of 80p, and they used to have £2, well, actually 2 or 3 pence, and they'd have £2.80 postal packaging, but those days are sadly gone. On A books, generally, they do actually do quite good. They're generally quite cheap, and especially sort of the history stuff that I like, that goes for really reasonably cheap as well. Whereas on eBay, my friend Hitman, I did a stream with about sort of 1920s British politics, and he bought a copy of that off eBay for 30, I think it was 35, 36 quid, and that for that book is actually quite cheap. So,
Was his name Hitman?
Yeah, that is yeah. That's his channel name. He does a lot of history, particularly Persian history at the moment.
No, that's a baller name. That's making us jealous.
Yeah. So, if you have any more questions, since nobody's in the chat at the minute, so we've got 5 people watching, but nobody in the chat other than DK and Steve's wife.
It's not so much a question, Aaron, but I was going to sort of say, like, I was in a way kind of hoping that you were going to come back from the pub properly shedded, and you were going to cause some booktube drama, you know, like slating people, slating authors, chucking books around, everything. That's what, you know, like.
No, I didn't. I didn't have enough time to do that to get Admiral. Britain. Britain is another booktuber. I know Steve. You've done an interview with Britain, haven't you? I think, or he certainly reviewed one of you.
Me? No.
Oh, I know he certainly.
No, I know Britain though, but I've never been on his show.
Oh, yeah. I know he's reviewed a couple of your books, and we did a live stream not this Friday, but the Friday before about the Mafia games, and that was really enjoyable. Okay, fair enough, mate. Yes, so we did a live stream, as I say, a week on Friday, which was really enjoyable about the Mafia games. So check that out if you're interested.
I need to look at that one because I've just watched your review of that Mafia 3 novel, the one that's set in Vietnam.
Yeah,
that sounded pretty good. I'll keep an eye out for that. So I'll have to watch the video about the games now.
Okay, just bear with me a second. I think we take one as well.
I like to toss something as
it's a good choice, though. That, you know, kebab and chips for your birthday.
Kebab, is it? Nice.
So while he's gone, I suppose I'll sort of ask you: so what are your sort of favorite books that you've read?
Ooh.
Yeah.
God, yeah, so many. Get Carter, definitely one of them, by Ted Lewis. As like an older, you know, like a mainstream published one. Steve's book, Hot Dose of Hell. Mm-hmm. It's one of the best indie horror novels out there. One of the better horror novels out there, full stop. So that's definitely worth a look. You want that? So there's 2 of my favourites.
Yeah, you can see the influence of Get Carter and Muscle as well, can't you, John? I think when you're reading that, your style is kind of similar. Yeah. Obviously, I like Muscle a lot. I like John's book a hell of a lot. Not just saying that because John said that. I think, did I read your book first, John? Did I read Muscle first?
God, I can't remember now because I think you had. I read Hot Dose sometime. You put it on an offer like 99p ebook or something. I think I tweeted something like, "I'm gonna have to buy the paperback because I don't like ebooks. I'm a bit of a Luddite or something." So whenever that, we'll have to check the reviews, mate, to see when we did. We did one first, but they were pretty close.
Yeah,
pretty close.
Yeah, so John's book's a cracker. I was a bouncer before, and John's book is about bouncers. And I could, from reading it, I assumed John had done that sort of work. It's so good. It's so spot on. He really captures the sort of the scene, and the way he sort of ratchets up the tension before a confrontation in that story is amazing. It's also one of my faves. I'm not just saying that just because John's there and because he likes my book as well. It's just happens to be the case. I like a lot of that sort of punchy crime fiction, and it's perfectly fits into that. I'd say it's easily in like my top 5 crime fiction reads. Rank it alongside things like Point Blank by Richard Stark, which is one of my favorites.
Well, what about you, Rod? What's your favorite?
I left a good review for it. I loved it. The ending was shocking, completely unexpected, and very appropriate for the storyline. It was a fantastic story. Yeah, I loved Muscle.
Thanks, Rod.
Hot Dose of Hell, I'm about halfway through it. And Steve, I apologize. My work schedule's so insane, it takes me forever to read a book. But I will say I'm loving the story. It's freaking awesome. You know, Roxy's sister just got into town.
Let's hear it, mate.
Right now. And that group
yeah.
with, I don't think I would travel with that group. So I don't think it's going to turn out very well for them.
No.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying the story. I just
they're great creation.
I've got 12 projects going, and I am just way in over my head, working constantly. But I will finish the book, and if halfway through is telling me anything, yeah, you can expect a very positive review. It's a great story.
Excellent.
I'm enjoying it very much.
I'd say where you are in the story is if it's a roller coaster, you're at the point just before the big dip.
Oh boy!
You're climbing up the peak. You're about to hit the big dip.
Oh, fantastic! I've got a little free time this evening. I'm planning on reading more, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, because it's been such much fun up until this point. And what's really funny, and I don't know if they're protagonists, antagonists. I don't know what they are, but they're like I don't know if I'm using the right word. Beatnik group, the people that Roxy's sister joined there. I can't pick one of them that's worth 2 cents. So I kind of hope they get annihilated. I don't like them. But her sister is cool. I hope she can put up a good rattle. Because the two gangster dudes, pretty tough fellas, they had their hands full with the two girls in that one room. And I was like, wow, so how is she going to handle these people? I don't want to blow anything for the other. How is she going to handle it when those two guys had a lot of trouble with it? It was close. And I loved it. I loved it. It was definitely, at any of those points I've mentioned, you couldn't set the book down. I don't care what you had going on. You had to read that, then go do whatever it is you had to do. And I love a book like that. What I read first was like that. I couldn't put it down. The 3 short stories with
thank you, man.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. Freaking loved it. I'm a big fan. Yeah, now Muscle's the only thing I've read so far. That's by you, ain't it, John? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Freaking fantastic. Have you published any other books, or was that your debut?
No, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I'm working on a couple of other ones at the minute, so slowly but surely we'll get there.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, you definitely showed a lot of talent and muscle. Like Steve said, it's very realistic, very gripping, and again, I really did not see the ending coming. And then, when it hit me in the face and I fell back in the chair, I realized that was the perfect ending. You did fantastic. That was a great book. I mean, it is. It's a great book.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, so I have a lot of fun. I love to read, but I spend 15 hours reading, editing 12 different books at once. And by the time I'm done with that, oftentimes I'll close my office, go to my bedroom and collapse. I'm afraid that happens at my age.
What's it like, Rod? Rod, because you're an editor and reading so much professionally, how easily do you find it to kind of switch that off and just read for enjoyment? Or is the editor part of yours going?
I think for a lot of people that would be hard. I think I have a very nice luxury, and that I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. I'm used to wearing many hats. I'm an editor, publisher, writer, accountant, business administrator. I mean, I've got so many hats in this company, you wouldn't believe it. So switching from one to the other is something I'm very used to. I've done it for 40 odd years. So, I have my time when I'm working, and editing is extremely focused. At least if you want to do it the way I do it, it's very focused. And reading is way more relaxed. I just sit back and absorb the story. It's way more relaxed. And so all of my work, I do at my desk in my office. And, when I get off later and I, pick up a hot dose of hell, I'm going to stretch out across the bed with a tall glass of iced tea, and I'm going to relax, try to burn at least 50 pages. I want to get into it further. And For me, that's absolute pleasure. That's like somebody else going to an amusement park. For me, getting into a story that well written where I'm literally in that story, I'm not looking at the clock or thinking about something else. The story is so gripping. I'm in there. And when I get in that little world, I'm happy as a lark. That's my amusement park. And Steve's writing, Muscle as well, but Steve's writing definitely gets me into that. I'm in that world. I'm standing right next to that character, and I eat that up. I love it. For me, that's absolute pleasure. How about you guys? Do you find that in a really good book, you're not just sitting in a chair reading a book, you're actually in that story? Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, you get a good book, and just absorbed by that. It just, again, takes you away, doesn't it?
Yeah, I love when
Yeah,
that.
same. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fun. I didn't hear, where'd Aaron run off to?
He's gone to get his kebab, I think, or he thinks that's what he had a message about anyway. So
So you can't blame the man for wanting to eat on his birthday.
He's got to soak up that booze.
Raz, what about you? What about your books? Any books that you like reading?
I'm gonna be dead honest with you. It's the last book I read was Flat Stanley, so I am massively out of my element. It's been a good couple of years since I've read an actual book.
It is hard to find the time these days,
Definitely.
It's hard, because everybody is very, very busy nowadays. Even the laziest people
I find
being lazy.
It's you've got to set the time aside and sort of treat yourself to a book, haven't you?
Yeah.
And sort of let yourself get into that relaxed state. There's too much input all the time in our lives. Always phones going off constantly and everything else. You got to just sort of shut everything off and read. I do most of my reading. I do a lot of reading in the summer because I spend quite a bit of time at the beach at the summer. So I'll just take a book down with me, and when I'm relaxing after swimming and stuff like that, I'll just lie on the beach reading, and I'll absolutely smash through a load of books then, because you're completely separated from everything. I don't feel like looking at a phone then or anything like that. You don't want to check your socials or anything. You just want to be there, and those sort of scenarios are the best times.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't really. I'm not going to say
everyone's frozen on me now.
I haven't had the luxury in a long time.
Shock everyone with that.
For a very long time, 3-4 years, I'd wake up, have my morning coffee, go to the office, work, get done with work, head for the bedroom, and fall asleep. And that was my life for better than 3-4 years. I recently said, no more 90-hour weeks. So I'm starting to live a little more now, and I can join a good friend for his birthday.
Sorry about that. I just sorted out both the takeaway and then the TV. As I was coming back with the takeaway. So I'll just go through some of the comments. Hello, Robert. Right, Zeb. Hello, a bit. Thank you for holding the thought whilst I was gone.
So it's arrived in good order.
Yeah. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah. Oh yeah, the takeaway was fine. It was when I came back, the TV in the front room was playing up, so I had to sort that out. Steve's back. Just there you go. So yeah, the problem is that for some reason the TV in the front room, the aerial, isn't showing any of the channels. So we've now had to put a Fire Stick in it to get it to work, and so I had to sort out the Fire Stick.
Steve is inspiring a short story that I may write. The Invisible Man with Indecision. He's there and he's not.
He's having problems tonight, isn't he? With
a little bit, yeah.
Oh, thank you. I should say that this is a graphic novel. There's a couple of, I think, chapters so far, and I'm looking forward to reading it when I get a chance to read it. I know Steve did an event with them a year or two ago, on the live stream on their channel, so discussing it, and it sounds really good.
Yes, Steve's mentioned their graphic novels a lot and said, definitely worth a read. So I've got them on the list at some point, along with a load of other books and works. So I'll get there in the end with it.
I'm old, busy, and out of date. Graphic novel, thick comic book. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I remember the old Archie comics.
They just DK. Work, lads, but library side for the panel, and where does Aaron highlight books? Well, I'll let the panel answer that. What they would like their library sites to be.
Or what I'd like them to be is, I'd love to have a proper full room that I could put all my books in. That'd be the ideal kind of dream, just a room full of books, a comfy chair. That's it. I'd be happy with that. As it is at the minute, I've got a couple of bookshelves downstairs. I've got a stack of them all on the floor at the minute that I need to kind of sort through the ones that I've read, which ones I want to get rid of, and a couple of ones upstairs on the stairs on the landing.
Yeah.
So they're all over the place at the minute, my books.
I'm a fan of 40s movies, 1940s, fedora hats, black and white film, and virtually all of those movies. The host always had a library. You go in, like you said, a room full of books, comfortable chairs, maybe a nice brandy, and then back then it wasn't frowned on, so you'd have a good cigar, and I got to admit, I think I might have been born a little bit late, because at least in the movie version, I love the 40s. I just love everything about it. I mean, think about it. We go out to dinner, especially here in the U.S., we go into some fast food dive and get some garbage that we probably shouldn't be eating, and we pay too much for it. And many Americans, if they're not wearing their PJs, they're doing pretty good. 1940s black and white film, any genre. They're going out to dinner. The guy's got on his suit and tie and his cool fedora. The girl's in a beautiful gown. They arrive at the restaurant. They're greeted by a really neat-looking waiter. They go to a really nice table. There's an orchestra playing. So when they finish eating, if they want to, they can get up and dance. How cool is that? Why did that pass in time? That's freaking awesome. So I'm a sucker for things of that era. I think Aaron and I talked one time that, I wouldn't want to be caught up in a war, for God's sakes. But the movie version of the 40s is extremely enticing for me. It's very cool. and the big libraries, like you said, John, wouldn't it be awesome? Can you remember any of those old movies? And the library was always grand and just beautiful.
Yeah.
God, it would be nice to have something like that,
Yeah, and this is absolutely right. The movies of that era are fantastic.
Mm.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
When it comes to my books, I've probably got them in 3 places. So
happy birthday!
Oh, thank you.
He's my new little friend, Buddy.
Oh, nice.
He didn't want to be left out.
Yeah. How long have you had him, Rod?
We've had him about 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been a absolute joy. Brought a lot of happiness into our home.
Yeah. They're great dogs, aren't they?
Yeah.
Great.
Cindy and I are a great couple, but we both love being a family, and he fit with us just perfectly.
So this is Shawnee Standfast, who is one of he and Mark from Book Time Ago, which is the reason why I'm on BookTube. And Sean is very well read across numerous genres, but he's a big fan of science fiction, and particularly of, and I'll mention the names now, Clifford D. Simak, and also a fan of the show Babylon 5.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
just to answer DK's question, with my books, I've got a set of shelves here, and the bottom two have got books on. So the second shelf up has got the books I'm reading, and the shelf at the bottom has got the books either I'm going to be reading or I have read. And then if you turn around here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but that white thing there is a bedside table with two sets of drawers in, and that's got fiction I'm going to read. And then there are two drawers under my bed. The one closest to me here has got all the history stuff I'm going to be reading, and then the drawer at the end has got all the stuff that I've history, but mostly fiction that I've read, that I read in the past year or the year before, that I'm not necessarily going to read anytime soon. So that's where that stays. That's where all my books are at the minute. But I am hoping to buy a bookcase to put there in front of my bed, so that one, my bed can't be seen on screen, but also I think it must be strange for people watching a booktuber who the only book you can see on screen whenever he does a video or live stream is the one he's holding up. It would be nice if you actually have to see that I've got books in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where all my books are. And as you can see behind Sean, so his book's there. And he's got, having been a part of it, been among the people who helped him move, I can say that that's a very tiny portion of the books you can see behind him, of the books he's got.
Yeah, they're everywhere and not enough space for them.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, DK. Yeah, so video. As you mentioned, I did that earlier, John. I read that Mafia 3 book, which I really did enjoy. That's, for those who don't know, Mafia is a series of games. It was a trilogy, but now it's got a fourth game coming out at the moment called Mafia Old Country. And that book I read was a prequel set during the Vietnam War. It's a really good sort of pulp war novel. It's the only thing I can say about it. It's a great pity that there were no sequels done to it, and there were no other books written for Mafia 2, because the main character in that is a veteran of the Second World War, and the first mission in that game is set in Sicily in 1943. So it would have been nice to have a book, just one of them, say, set in 1944, within fighting Italy. But they sadly never did that. Which, great pity, because it would have been interesting. Oh, thank you, Andre. Yeah. As I said, if you have any questions for me, we can ask. Now that I'm actually back and I'm not running around for a takeoff.
I got one for you.
You've mentioned it before, Aaron. Oh, sorry, Steve. Go on. You
Sorry, unless this was answered while I was messing about with the internet. What got you started in BookTube, mate?
Well, I mentioned that Sean was one, along with Book Time Elvis. That what happened was that in 2021, 2022, Sean and Mark used to do Friday reads or Friday lives, where they just talk about books that they'd read in a week. And I sort of was in the chat, and eventually I just decided I might as well have a go. So that's how my channel started. It was thanks to Sean and thanks to Mark that really got me started. But there was a slight sort of hiccup, because I started in May 2023. Then I had some health difficulty just after that, so I stopped doing BookTube. And then I came back in January 2024, and now I've been going ever since.
I think you've been doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Actually,
I'm afraid I'm pretty weak in both history and government stuff. I'm not very strong in those areas, but I applaud you as much as possible for your outstanding book reviews, the way you do it. You said a moment ago you hold a book up and that's all the people can see. Well, from my perspective, you really focus on the book that you're reviewing, and your audience does too. And you really give the writer an honest review. You really make sure that the audience knows, as much as you can without giving away spoilers. And, they have an idea who this writer is. They have an idea what this story is about. And they have an immense idea that you're sharing your honest opinions. And across BookTube, that's not always, even in the bigger channels, somebody paid him X number of dollars to say whatever they wanted him to say. I don't watch those channels at all. I give it a look. I'm pretty good at picking out a phony, and I'm like, bye. I love that you do the author justice, you do the book justice, and you do the audience justice. You do a fantastic book review show. I know you do other things, but you do an outstanding job with that, in my opinion. You really do.
Oh, thank you, Ron. I do try my best. And actually, just mentioning, since Rod's here, this is one book I've reviewed, which is Rod Edited, which is an anthology of horror stories, which I can recommend. I really do enjoy. I had a bit of difficulty with the 9th story. That was more because I didn't gel with it, not because it's a bad story in itself. I can recommend that. And just people will sort of notice that when I do short story collections or anthologies, I end up doing individual reviews for them. And the reason why I do that is because I always feel that, particularly with anthologies, if you do a single review of them, you tend to pick one or two stories out. And that's, for example, in this collection, it's got 10 stories by 10 different writers. And if I just did a single review, I'd end up picking out one or two, maybe three of them. And that would be unfair to the other writers in the collection. And I suppose you could make the argument that that's not so much true with, say, short story collection written by one writer, but still there's going to be in a collection like that. So the stories themselves are going to be somewhat different, and they're going to have different strengths. And so for me, when I'm doing some reviews of things like this, or individual short story collections by single authors, I just feel it's better to review the stories individually than do them as one big review.
Yeah, I love the way you do that, because just like you said, whether it be Steve, John, me, or any other writer, you take, well, some of these guys are pretty famous. I'm not. But you take a pretty unknown fella like me and you say, hey, check out this fella. And you bring that writer forward, just like any of the writers in that anthology. All of a sudden, their name is out there, and they're being represented by a respected booktuber. And people are saying, hey, who is that? Who is that Mariah Southworth? Let's check her out. And then on top of that, you describe the stories very eloquently and always honestly. That's something that shines through on your channel, is your honesty. And, all of a sudden that writer is somebody, and it's because of you, and that's super freaking awesome that you do that. It really is. And not many booktubers do it. Most booktubers, and I'm not going to pick on anyone in particular. Who the hell am I? Most booktubers, they want to get that point where you get paid by YouTube and get your points, and that's all that matters. Get paid. I don't know if you get paid for your book reviews or not, but I know that you do a fantastic job. And you got to get, 4,000 views every month to get the money. I don't know. And you come across as, I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to help readers find great books and trying to help writers get known. You're helping people. And to me, that deserves a great deal of applause. That's like, yay, Aaron.
Oh,
I'm sure you guys might want to chime in. So me, chatter. I'll hush for a minute.
Saying that, Rod, I do try my best. Actually, I should at this point I should bring this comment up. Otherwise, I'm never going to hear the end of this. Right, this is my sister. So I'm just going to say hello, JD. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello, JD.
I should say, Sean, remember I told you that one of my sisters had me put an app on my phone so she could check where I was going when I came up to you?
Yeah.
This is the sister.
Is she
I
going
was
to
gonna, I guess, kill him and eat him or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
In this show, is she going to expose all your darkest secrets?
I don't think so. I think she's feeling a bit guilty at the moment because she was meant to be with me going out for a drink, but she and her boyfriend and my nephew went down to a caravan south of Worcester. So I think I don't think she'll at least today mention any sort of secrets. Yeah. With it, when it comes to sort of reviewing stuff, I don't make much distinction between sort of indie published, self-published stuff and sort of normal stuff I sort of review, because I don't see much difference. And in a way, I do sort of make more, in some ways, more of an effort with self-published indie published stuff, purely because I know that the author will probably interact with it. Whereas if I do a review of, say, that Mafia 3 book, the authors are probably never going to see it. So I try to be as a sort of more, to a degree, objective with self-published indie published stuff than I would necessarily with traditionally published, but not much more, shall we say? Because I try and make sure that there's not really much difference between the two.
Yeah, I've got several submission calls coming up in my press, and somebody asked me recently, "Ooh, what if you get this guy or that guy, this famous writer, that famous writer?" And I said, it's the truth too, that it has been since day one. Myself and my acquisition readers, we don't see the author's name. We don't know who the author is. The story has to stand on its own. It's got to be a good story. I don't care who wrote it. It's got to be a good story, And so I like that you don't play favorites. You give every writer the same fair chance to write a decent story and get a decent review. That's something I respect very much.
Thank you. I'll just bring up another comment. Hello, Margaret. This is Margaret, who's another booktuber and also a self-published author. She has written a couple of historical novels set, I think, mostly in the sort of 19th century. Oh. Yeah. I have. Well, right. I've got. Let me think about this. I've got. Let's make sure I've got that right. So, Laura, Libby, JD, Francesca, Jackie. We've got 5 altogether. I have to count up because there's my sister, Laura, and me, who are my full. We have the same mum and dad, and then there's Libby and JD, who have a different dad, my stepdad, and then there's Francesca and James, who are my dad and my stepmom's children, and so I have to continually remind myself how many there are. Yeah, but that's so we're 5 altogether. Well, 5 as far as I know. There might I don't know if there's any more, but so that's altogether 5. Yeah, and I'm the eldest. Laura is technically now a year younger than me. She's born. There's about a 10-day period where she and I are the same age, and then there's JD and Libby are. I won't say since JD's watched, I won't say how she is, so I won't say how Libby is, but they're younger than I am, and then Francesca and James are both younger than Libby and JD. So yeah, there's about between me and Francesca, there is about, let's say, about 14, 15 years. Pretty much so.
So I wonder, as you have a pretty good sized family, it's very hard here in the United States. Are you able to get together on the holidays and have like a traditional Christmas or whatever, like with all your family around you? Or is everybody so busy with their lives that you don't get together like that?
Well, with Libby, JD, and Laura, I do see them quite often because Libby, JD, and Laura all live reasonably close. Francesca and James live around with my dad, and they're down towards Stourbridge, which is down that direction. So I don't get to see them as often, but I see them. I haven't because of COVID. I haven't seen them pretty much essentially since COVID. But at the moment, that's hopefully going to change in the next week. So let's see. Get to see them a bit more. that I did before. In fact, I think James might be subscribed to my YouTube channel. I don't know because I've got a public subscribe and it looks suspiciously like the channel name seems like it probably is him, but I don't actually know. Yeah, so so pretty much I see, as I say, I see Libby, Jane, and Laura regularly with my nieces and nephews, but I don't necessarily see James and Francesca as often as I probably should. So.
Yeah, these days, most people that I visit with, it's via Zoom. Getting an in-person visit somewhere is very hard to do with everybody's schedules, you know. And that's kind of a shame. You know, technology is wonderful, but we've lost something in it, you know. It used to be nice to get together with friends and, you know, have a drink or eat a lunch, you know, whatever. But at least in my little world, people don't do that much anymore. Is that true where you guys are at?
I think, like Aaron said, it definitely kind of like COVID had an impact on it. Definitely just in terms of the movement and trying to get hold of people. And I think that's got better now, but I still think people do, you know, we've almost fallen into those ways. I don't think everybody's 100% gone back to how things were before, perhaps. Not all the way, you know. But yeah, life gets in the way though, doesn't it? Sometimes, you know, with, you know, work. By the time you've done a week's work and things like that, sometimes you just want that bit of time to yourself or with your immediate family, and don't necessarily or can't, you know, they're doing the same thing. You can't get together with them. You can't quite tie it all together, especially if there's like travel involved and so on. So, you know, yeah. But it's nice if you've got family nearby. I think that's great. You've got family nearby. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I had just the thing of spending time with my mom. We live in the same town, and so I'm still able to spend time with her, and I consider that a great blessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my mom lives just up the road, and my sister lives not too far from me. The three of them live not too far, so I see them on a reasonably regular basis. And that was true even during COVID, so I was lucky there.
Steve and Sean, do you get to see your families often?
I see mine a fair bit. Yeah, they're about 30-40 miles away, which ain't too far. So I make an effort to see them quite regularly.
Did you ask me? I didn't quite.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't really have any family here, so I don't see anybody.
Oh. Is that a plus or a minus? Because sometimes family can be a severe minus.
Well, I would say it's both. It's a plus and minus, because the ones I can't see because they're gone, and the others don't really care to see. So
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Actually, since we're all here, have any of you read any books recently that you've been particularly interested in?
I've just read, and it's only just took me this while to get round to this. Read Deliverance by James Dickey. Just read that because the film was on BBC a couple of weeks ago. I think it's still on iPlayer, and I watched it again. And I thought, right, I'll give the book a go. I remember picking it up years ago and not buying it. I can't remember why I didn't buy it. I just completely sort of forgot all about it. And I loved it. I thought it was really, excellent book. It's really good. If you enjoy has anybody read it here? Anybody read it?
Yeah.
Have you read it? Have you, Sean?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been interested to hear what you think about it, but it's the film's very faithful to the book, but the book is so much more. There's a lot more going on in the book, a lot more sort of thoughts about nature, man, there's a lot more internal side. The character's a lot more fleshed out. So it's I'd recommend it if you enjoy, especially if you enjoy the film.
Yeah, I remember liking it, but it's a long time ago. Probably shortly after I originally saw the film, sometime in the early '80s, most likely, and then I read the book somewhere around then. But I remember liking it. Yeah.
It's a good, solid sort of adventure novel in a way, you know. But yeah, definitely have a look for it if you can find it on. I've got mine off Amazon. I think it might be on World of Books as well. I'm sure there's some copies floating around on Aid Books as well, or secondhand shops. But,
I recently read Dark Bloom by Molly McCobb. I was blown away. That's an excellent book. Have you guys read that?
I've read it. Yeah, it's a good book. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
it's very intense.
Yeah,
I think
that's on my list as well. That's one that I need to get round to reading. That one, definitely need to get round to that.
It'll be hard to believe when you read it, but Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's Molly's debut book.
It is indeed. Yeah, it is.
Well, you wouldn't think that while you're reading it, would you? It's very well done.
It's very well done, and it's very powerful as well. I think I always compare it to like the best episodes of The Walking Dead. Walking Dead's a very uneven show, but when every so often they hit with a really spot on episode that was like really, really strong. And I think that's basically what Molly's book was like, that kind of level.
Yeah, it's very, very enjoyable. You know, the books I love the most, you know, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, you know, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, Shirley Jackson, and now Dark Bloom, Molly McCobb. Those I go out and go to like Aid Books or anywhere I can and find the best version of it that I can for my bookshelf. You know, and if they got a leather bound hardcover, I'll save up for it and I'll buy it. You know, you know, because I've got the phone thing, but the books I really love that I know I'll read again, I kind of treat myself, you know, and I buy the best version I can get my hands on, and I think Dark Bloom is worthy of that. It's a great story. I really think so.
I must admit what you said there about buying the best version of a book. That's pretty much these days the only thing I buy if I go into like a high street bookstore is something I've already read. I don't really like a lot of what I see on the shelves out there, but I'll pick up like a classic and be like, that one's going on the shelf now. I read that 20 years ago and I loved it, and I've got a tatty old paperback of it. I'm going to get the nice one so I could display it like a work of art.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yep, I do that. I don't buy a lot of books. I'm not at all wealthy by any measure, but the really special ones. The best example I can think of, I've got a Royal Collector's Edition of Frankenstein, the original text. I think I did buy it from Aid Books, and that version cost me like $70. I don't know what that is in pounds, but $70 for me, that's a lot of money for a book. But it's the crown jewel of my collection. It's beautiful, you know.
I mean, Sean can sort of talk about it quite a lot, as well as doing Dracula, and also Clifford D. Simak. You recently got Sean. Was it Way Station or?
No, it was Easton Press CD that somebody sent me. Still don't know who that was, but yeah, it's Easton Press. They did two. They did Way Station and City.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have both of them, so it's just kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should at this point just say that it's also Molly McCall's birthday. I was polite enough not to ask how old she was, so if Molly does see this, happy birthday, Molly.
Mm-hmm.
She's a
lot of talent. I think she's going to go far. I think she has what it takes to really make it as a writer. I really believe so.
Molly also has a good YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth checking out. She does some good booktube stuff.
Oh, I don't think I've seen her YouTube channel. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know. Go ahead, Brad.
Fair enough. He's read Dark Bloom.
No, not yet. It is on my wish list to buy.
I think you'll much enjoy it. It's really good. Yeah, it really is.
I was just going to say, when it comes to copies, when it comes to some particular editions of books, I'm not that overly bothered. I'm happy to have a sort of ex-library version, ex-library copies, but I know, for example, there are certain sort of books I would like to get from the Folio Society. Like they've got the full one of the original Ian Fleming James Bond books, and they've got painted illustrations inside. I'd love to have them. And they're actually not that expensive comparatively. I think there's something like 30 quid or something, and that which compared to some editions you can get, you see out there, that's quite cheap. But at the moment, it's a bit cheap.
They're selling the paperback pans for more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to get a full run of those, a full run of the original editions of those as well. The pan paperbacks of the Bond books.
Yeah, I used to be able to pick them up a dime a dozen, not anymore.
Yeah. Interestingly though, there's a bloke on Instagram who does modelled on those old pan paperbacks, the Bond filmed posters in the style of those old paperbacks. I can't remember who he was, but they're really good. He's done everything from Doctor No up until I think he actually did No Time to Die in that style, and they're really good to look at. Great pity that they don't. It's a great pity they don't do novelizations anymore, because they would be great for book covers for them.
Yeah, and I got to come up with a new system for my enjoyment reading, because for years I buy the ebook, usually let's say $5.99 or less. I'll buy the ebook and check it out, and only a select few make it to my bookshelf, and I'll buy the paperback or whatever version I can find. But anymore, have you guys noticed some of the writers and publishers are going crazy with their prices? No ebook is worth $25, and a lot of them are pricing their ebooks around that. And I think that's ridiculous, especially because it's wrecking my system. Now I got to go buy a $15 book and find out if I like it or not. But I'm not going to buy an ebook for $25. I'm just not going to do it. Would you guys pay that for an ebook?
I mean, is that just not a way of driving you to get the paperback anyway, so they recoup their costs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think they've jacked their prices up way too high. A lot of them have for an ebook. I mean, I know it varies on what your project is, which one makes the most money. Everybody wants to make a buck, but for me, it was really nice to have that inexpensive $2.99 ebook to take a look at a book and see if I liked it at all.
Yeah.
And then every one that I really, really enjoyed, I go back and I buy the hard copy, paperback or hardback, whatever, and that goes on my bookshelf. Well, believe it or not, that actually saves you money when you think about your first encounter with a book. You buy that $12.99 to $17.99 paperback, and if you DNF it, you wasted that money. Over the course of a year, that can get pretty expensive. I love using the ebook as sort of a first look at a book, because from an accounting point of view, it saves me a lot of money. But I really have seen where so many books, I'll see something, I'll see a review or even an ad, and I'll say, ooh, that's interesting. Amazon. Jesus, that ebook is $22.99. Forget that. I don't know. Am I just being tight, or do you guys kind of see it the same way or not? I mean, just straight up honest.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pay that much for an ebook. I'm not an ebook fan anyway myself. I much prefer a physical book. I don't really like reading things. I don't have an e-reader. I don't like reading things on my phone. I stare at a computer screen most of the day as it is. So I like a book, stretch out with fold. I'm one of them. I'm one of them that bends the corners on the book to mark where the page is at. I like that tactile sort of feel of it all. So for me, I'll always go for the paperback. Always paperback as well. I'm not a fan of hardbacks particularly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like a paperback.
Depending on published it, some of them hardbacks are kind of hard to open without damaging the book. Have you seen that before?
Yeah. You sort of almost you read it once and it's kind of ruined, isn't it? Almost to a point.
Yeah. Some of the hardbacks, I think it depends on the publisher, but there are many that you can actually tear it up just by reading it. How about you guys? Do you like the price of ebooks these days, or I don't know?
I don't buy many ebooks really. I tend to get a physical. It's rare that I'll go with an ebook. Sometimes if I'm at a loss on a lunch break or something like that, I might go on Prime and see if I can find like a short story or something that I haven't read for like £1 and blast through it on my lunch break on my phone. But it's not too often. Usually I've got a little paperback. I don't buy many new books apart from indie books. Most books I find are secondhand. I like to go around sort of, looking for little treasures here and there, little forgotten treasures.
Oh yeah, I love a good bookstore. They're getting kind of rare in my area. The bookstores over the last 20 years, 2/3 of them have closed. Even the bigger name ones, they've closed out.
What do you put that down to?
Well, the success of the internet, Amazon, and others like it. Click, and you got it. I mean, my wife and I buy our groceries. We don't go to the grocery store. We go to this store or that store. We pick out what we want, click a button. A couple hours later, we open our front door, and there's our groceries. It's so convenient. That's how we do it. And unfortunately, that carries over into other things, like a good little bookstore. I used to love. Can you remember? I don't know if they still do it over there where you guys are. You would walk into the bookstore and browse a little bit, find a nice book that you want to check out, sit down in a comfy chair, have you a nice cup of coffee, relax. And it was such a wonderful experience to go to the bookstore. Is it still like that where you guys are? I mean, I'm going back a few years, but it used to be such a wonderful experience.
Not really.
No, the supermarket bookstores now.
Yeah, they're very, very retail-y now. Very, you go into your average high street one, and it's half of it is selling tat and games and junk. To be honest with you, some of them have started selling vinyl even actually, which I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
but a lot of it is just trash. Really, they're trying to turn them into like an anything store. I think eventually it'll be all kinds of stuff in there. I think
little mini Walmart.
yeah, kind of thing. But certain, like I say, secondhand stores, they've got nice things about them. They've got a lot of character if you can find them around. I discovered one the other day actually down the road. It's really nice. There's a spot by the river down by me. You walk through the woods for miles, and there's this old like manor house, and they've turned the bottom floor of it and all these little sections into little shops, little independent shops, and there's a little used bookstore in there. It's lovely.
Oh, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
You have to get a photo next time you go there, Steve. Put it on Twitter or something.
Yeah. I'll do a little video or something of the journey as well, because it's quite nice.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
I think they've got to be cherished when you find them now, these secondhand bookshops, because, I've looked back on ones that I used to go to when I was living in different places, when I was in the army even. And, I went back to visit York a couple of years ago. I thought, right, let's go and have a look, see if that bookshop's still there. And no, gone, closed up. I think it was an estate agent or something like that. Another one I used to live, where a place I used to live, that had been converted into flats. So, I don't know if COVID killed them all off, that sort of thing. The lack of footfall did it. And then obviously the cost of living, the cost of business rates and rents just went up. And, and maybe a lack of interest in reading, perhaps. Combination of all those things.
Yeah.
I
know a lot more people that play video games than read books. Video games have been a very negative thing in society, I think. I could probably name 10 people that'll pass 6 hours in a day playing a video game. And when you turn it off and stand up, what did you actually accomplish? Nothing. And then most of the time, you could barely remember 2 or 3 shots that you did were cool or something. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. Now, I'm older, The only video game I ever played was Atari 2600, way back in the days. But honestly, I think you can find better things to do with your time, and I'd rather open a good book. You know, that's maybe my age talking. What would you do, Aaron?
I've not a
fire up the video game controller, or would you open up a fabulous classic that you've never read?
Exactly, it would depend on the game.
You young fellow, you.
Talking about second-hand bookshops, and I'm sure when you used to live in Bedford, there's that one which, as far as it's still going, isn't it? The Eagle Bookshop.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, and that's really great. That's got all sorts of stuff in there. They got entire sort of entire bookcases of is it a panel penguin paperbacks, Sean?
Yeah. They bought a huge collection of most numbered paperbacks of the numbered penguins, and they've been selling them off over like 5-6 years now.
Yeah, I mean, I know that with me, where I live on a green, so it's a sort of L-shaped row of shops, and there's a charity shop directly below where I am, and there's a charity shop sort of 2 doors down. But the books they have in there are almost all sort of ones that were published in the last, say, 10 years. There's nothing. It's a proper old-fashioned second-hand bookshop. There's all the stuff you get there. There is, interestingly, a charity shop in Stalebridge down the road where they've got an entire upstairs floor, and it's pretty much all old books. It's a lot like the Eagle Bookshop in that way, where it's not stuff that was published, say, 5-10 years ago. They've got some stuff like they had a hardback of Dennis Wheatley, which I think was published in the 40s or something like that. And also, I'll show these as well. They've got these, which are sort of novelizations of the Professionals TV show from the 70s. And they had 4 of them there that I bought actually last year. And you wouldn't see these in a charity shop, at least a charity shop around here at all, other than that one in Stourbridge. It's as much a second-hand bookshop as it is a sort of charity shop.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Professionals, Aaron, was that who you were comparing John to the other day?
Yes, that was Lewis Collins.
I was like, I'll take that one. I'll take that. That's all right.
Yeah, I will at this point just apologise, John. I didn't. that was intended. Sorry, Steve. That was intended to be humorous, not literal.
Oh, what, with the Guff Merengue? At first, I was like, all right, cheeky. But then I thought about it, and I was like, do you know what? I'm not even annoyed.
I guess that quote you brought, the meme you brought up in reply, that is my favourite quote. Where, for those who don't know, the quote is, "I've known writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards."
I kind of agree with it.
I'm just going to go through some of the comments. Hello, Gareth. Oh, thank you. Right, actually, yes, I ordered my takeaway not too long ago. Fortunately, it's arrived, but I'm going to have one afterwards. So, okay, fair enough. I'm probably going to go for at least another hour anyway. So if you want to go on, you can. This is an interesting question. I have got an answer to this. Have any of you thrown a book in the bin or generally sort of out away out of disgust?
I did take one straight back to the shop once. It was called. It was, funnily enough, it was called Muscle, but it wasn't John's Muscle. It was called. Who's it by? Trotter or something like that. His surname. I can't remember. It was one. The place I was working used to be next door to a Waterstone, so I'd sometimes nip in there and grab something. And I picked this book up. This was at the front. There was a stack of them. They were pushing this book, had the Guardian stamp of approval, which should have been an alarm signal straight away, to be honest with you. But I didn't know as well then. Picked it up, read the first 40 pages, and I just thought it was utter wank. I thought it was pretentious wank, and I just took it straight back.
What was it about? What was it?
It was about like two like enforcer type characters, similar to Fred and Pinky, and but it was just written by someone who just had no idea what those kind of people are about. And it was like they went on a roller coaster together at the start for no apparent reason, and I was just like, what is this shit? And the way they talked to each other was really off the mark, and what they did was off the mark, and I was just like, oh, this is just garbage. I'm not interested in reading stuff by someone who's got nothing really to say. There's no grit to this. There's no interest in it. It was just I don't know, someone who's probably mates with people in the publishing industry and mates with people in the Guardian to get that amount of attention for something that it really was really poor. I really could not stand it. Like it got my back up. When one of these guys got on the roller coaster, I was like, what the fuck is this crap? You know, just straight back to the shop. I hadn't even finished eating my sarnie. Straight back. I was like, I want my money back.
Yeah, for me was I didn't throw this in the bin, but I came very close to throwing it literally across the room. Was Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy.
Really?
Yeah,
right.
it wasn't the plot. It was the way that he'd written it. I just couldn't. It was so frustrating. I've tried reading other of his books, and I just can't get on with him. As I say, he seems to think that the grammar and punctuation is an optional extra, and he just I just can't put up with it. And I know that Britain, if you're still watching, won't be very happy about that because he's a big fan. I can't be dealing with it. It's just I didn't throw the book across the room, but I came really close because I was that frustrated with the thing.
Yeah. I don't think I'm trying to think if I've got anything that's. I'm sort of looking around to see if I've got anything that's kind of like I've kept still, you know, that I just didn't like too much.
It was many years ago, but one that I respected the author too much to throw the book. But man, I found it hard to read. Tale of Two Cities by Dickens. Did any of you guys find that kind of difficult to read? It might have just been because I was young. But man, I struggled trying to read that book.
I've not read that one. I've read some Dickens when I was at school, but that's probably about it. That was last time I read any of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's a famous classic, you know, this and that, but Tale of Two Cities, boy, I got about 2 chapters in and I was like, whoa, I read Shakespeare. Shakespeare's cool. This guy is hard to read. Dickens is tough, you know? And of course, I didn't throw the book, for heaven's sakes. Even as a young man, I knew better than that. But I don't think I ever read it through. I might revisit it one day. I'm a little more mature now. I might have a chance. I hate to be the one, but I'm a victim of my schedule. And I want to say to you guys, such an honor and a privilege and so enjoyable to be able to join you for a little while. Thank you for allowing me to pop in here and say hello. Aaron, I wish you the very best, very happiest birthday and the greatest future. I think you're an incredible guy. I will continue to follow you on social media and all your shows and stuff. I think you're fantastic, Aaron. I wish we lived closer. We could all go out and, what's the word, have a pint? Is that how you guys say it over there? But I feel great friendship here. Sean and J Raz, we're just saying hello, but it's an honor to meet you. I'm afraid I have to go, but thank you for letting me join you all for a while.
Nice to see you, Rod.
Thank you very much.
Birthday.
Good to see you, mate.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, Rod.
I'll just go through a couple of the comments. Yeah, pretty much so.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is also with paperbacks, John.
Well, I think after Gareth helped me pack, I think he doesn't want to see a hardcover ever again in his life. because most of my books are hardcovers.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I know. I know Gareth feels. And then,
So is that a
Gareth-
whole library behind you there, Sean?
Sorry?
Is that a whole library behind you there? I'm imagining that shelf just goes on.
Well, there's 3 here. There's 3 over there, and there's bookcases. I just don't have enough space in here. It's upstairs. There's a room that's just all around books, and there's books literally in every room except the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah, I could attest about that. Given that I helped put quite a number of them there.
Yeah, I'm still not fully. I'm unpacked, but I'm still not there.
Yeah.
Not everything up on shelves. I don't have the space for it here.
Oh, hello, Lee. Oh, hello, Ben. Thank you. Oh, and Steve. I think DK has this a bit more refined than you made on it. And yeah, yeah. It's one thing actually just in terms of stuff I've done this year. I've been because I saw the movie and everything. I was planning, and I didn't get to do this. Was to read a lot more history, and so starting in September, I'm not going to do any events on BookTube. I'm just going to concentrate on reading the indie self-published books I've got that I was meaning to read. So like Sledge, A Dangerous Man, Neo-Victorian, the finish of Neo-Victorian's trilogy, and I've got a couple of others I want to read, and also to read a lot more history. So I've got those Maurice Cowley books I'm going to read, and also I'm going to read. I've got Corelli Barnett's. I can't remember the name now. It's about the sort of the decline of the British Empire from sort of the end of the First World War up until the 1950s. I think it's again, I can't remember the name of it, but I'm going to read that as well. And I've got the Dominic Sandbrook books, his social history of Britain, and I've got at least the first 3 of those by David Kinniston. He's sort of a New Jerusalem book, which I want to read. And actually, reading the Kinniston books and the Sandbrook books will probably be quite good because they're covering roughly the same time period. I mean, Kinniston starts in 45. I think the first of the Sandbrook book starts in 56. I think it's Never Had So Good. And that's so reading the first 2 Kinniston books and then going into Sandbrook would be a nice sort of continuation.
Did Kinniston also do a trilogy of history of London, I think, too? Or
yes, he did. He did one. He did a lot. I can't remember the name of them, but he did know about the city of London in particular, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
that would be interesting, I think, because I've got some of the other ones, but
yeah.
I probably won't be keeping them because I don't think I'll ever get around to reading them.
I mean, I remember he also did a book that was solely about 1962, just purely about what happened in that year. I remember reading that when I was at university because I actually for my dissertation, because I did that on the Profumo Affair, and the Profumo Affair takes place between 1961 and 63. And so I read that, and it was really enjoyable. Actually, if anybody's interested in the history of the Profumo Affair, I can recommend Richard Danforth Hines' book, The English Affair, which really is a good history of that, and also Charles Williams' biography of Harold Macmillan, and also R.D. Thorpe's biography of Harold Macmillan as well, which is called, I think Williams' biography is called just Harold Macmillan, and R.D. Thorpe's biography is called Supermac, both of which I very much recommend. They're really good. Speaking of which, I mentioned this gentleman earlier. Hello, Mark. So Mark along with Sean was one of the 2 people who got me into BookTube. And TK has another question. Opinions on audiobooks. Is it reading? I like it for fiction. Non-fiction is a struggle. I don't know about you gentlemen, but I don't technically regard it as reading because you're not actually reading it. You're listening to it. But other than that, I don't regard it as any real qualitative difference for me.
Yeah, I'm with you, Aaron, on that. I don't call it reading because it's not, but it's no different from. It's a way to engage with a book. It's completely legitimate. You know, it's no less legitimate than reading a physical book.
Yeah, I just think I think you engage in it differently than reading. It's the same as if somebody makes a dramatization of a book, you're engaging differently because the person who's actually reading it is interpreting it for you in the way that they're speaking, and so but it's not reading, but it's a different way of engaging in a story, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not reading because somebody else is reading.
It's just something else, isn't it?
I agree with what everyone else has said there. The only thing I will say is that I'm the opposite in terms of I'll listen to non-fiction. I'll happily listen to that, but fiction I can't do. But non-fiction, especially if it's being read by the person who wrote it, that's often quite good. If it's someone's biography or something like that, and they're telling you their own story, then I find that easy to go with.
Well, yeah, because nonfiction, there's less interpretation in it and the way you say something, but the way you say it in fiction, because I've tried to listen to some that I've read and I go, that's not how I picture that person speaking.
Yeah.
You know, so it's totally different. So the interpretation to me is different than what I did, and that's what reading is. It's a personal. It's a solitary personal thing, which you don't get when you're listening to somebody else do it.
Yeah, but I know what you mean, Sean, because even not just the dialogue, but even the rhythm and the cadences of how I might read a book compared to how someone else is reading it, even just the descriptive scenes. I mean, I will listen to some sort of more fictional stuff, or rather watch a YouTube video, I think, for that kind of thing, rather than listen to an audiobook. But funny you should mention listening to books. I listened to Deliverance as an audiobook on YouTube, which was read by James Dickey. So read by the author, and he's got this wonderful Southern accent that's fantastic. It just suits that book perfectly. So that I found quite an experience to listen to the book, then go and read it myself. And it's an abridged version anyway. So there's, again, 3 different layers of experience in that story, from the film, the audiobook by the author, and then actually reading the author's work. So that was an experience. That was quite a good one there to see the differences.
And sometimes it's who's narrating, who's reading the book, is like, I would want to listen to that person's voice because the way that they do something. But again, I'd be engaging in that story differently than when I read it, or if somebody else read it. That's the whole thing. And that's why I always think that reading is a solitary personal thing. It just, you can't have other people involved in your reading. When you're reading something, it just doesn't work, in my opinion.
I find that I enjoy audiobooks about non-fiction and fiction, but there is occasionally when they'll go in a person reading it and they'll have the wrong accent for the story. I remember once I got an audiobook in 1984 and it was an American reading it, and this narrator was perfectly good, and he had a very sort of neutral American accent, but still, 1984 is a very sort of British, particularly English story, and the idea of having an American writing is, and he tried to do British accents, but they weren't too good, and it just didn't sit right. Whereas in the same way that I did once hear a British narrator doing The Great Gatsby, and that just didn't work because that is so American. That having somebody who's not American reading it, even though this narrator was able to do the accent reasonably well, at least in my ear, just because when he was reading the non-dialogue bits, he was doing it in an English accent. It just didn't fit at all.
Be interesting to see if somebody could do AI, do something have the accents down just perfect for almost like, if it, depending on when it was done, to the certain area of London, that the character is from, to have the accents and the cadence and everything correct. That would be interesting to see if that could be done.
Especially Shakespeare. If you get that done with the Shakespeare doing the plays, in that particular accent they had, the sort of what today sort of sounds like country bumpkin, so West Country accent, but wasn't true. But being able to get that done, particularly with the sort of London accent that people would have spoken with, the variation of that using AI would be interesting. Just see if there's anything else. Yeah,
How do you feel about AI with books and things like
that? I think it might be a good thing, but we need to sort of be cautious with it. Because AI can't write books the way that people can, frankly. It might be able to do audio book stuff, some voice stuff eventually. I think that's going to take time. You've probably seen the videos on YouTube where they've got sort of AI narrator, and they still stumble over words, particular words. And so I think maybe that, with the example Sean mentioned, that you could get AI eventually down to the degree that it could do, they're able to recreate accents of a particular area at a particular time. But outside of that, I'm wary of AI. I'm not as sort of a hardline as Vardy's, who very much is anti-AI across the board, but I do think we need to be a bit more careful with it at the moment.
Well, I remember, I think it was about a year or so ago when they were sort of rolling out, or whenever they were rolling out Chat GPT and all this, and there were editors of the magazine of science fiction fantasy, Asimov and Analog, and they were flooded with which was clearly AI created science fiction stories. And the interesting thing was, at that time, there was only a handful of variations of a story. Like it was they all, not all, but they could categorize the same idea being used throughout all these different, or a whole bunch of different stories. So people have had success with it, but every time I've tried it, like I sort of tried something, I said, well, give me a history of science fiction from this period to this period, and it's mostly wrong. And I did a search. I was searching for radio plays that had been novelized, and I thought that would be an interesting little project to look at. And what AI came up with was Orson Welles did War of the Worlds, and H.G. Wells based his book War of the World on the radio play, and that's what it said.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then now when you see on Google, it says there's just a little caveat and small letters down at the bottom saying the information may not be correct or something.
I remember when that Chat GPT was coming out, and somebody said that they mentioned those limitations, and they essentially described it. Said it's like a confident bullshitter. It's got stuff wrong, but just keep saying it. Just keep going on with it. I think AI is useful for perhaps research purposes. If you want to do a quick bit of research, or if you want to do a quick bit of marketing, perhaps, or I think for smaller businesses, perhaps it's useful. Especially get those sort of little tools, little tasks done. But
I still question it, calling it artificial intelligence. It's not. I don't think it is. All it is a highly sophisticated program that's pulling stuff here and there, and putting it together. That's not artificial. That's not what artificial intelligence is. Doesn't mean that it won't develop into that, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is that because I always kind of thought it would be kind of cool to be able to have a little program that you could ask your computer, either typing in or a voice, to say, I want information on X, Y, and Z. You know, collect everything that you can find throughout the internet and collate it for me. But, you know, when it's like this, you don't need to, you know, you can excerpt that material and present it in a package. And that's sort of what this is. That's all this is, I think, is just but it's not even doing it correctly, because it's going to pick up stuff that people. How many times have you done a picture search for somebody and you go, well, that's not that person, but somebody has uploaded that picture and put their name to it below it. So, but their search results will return those as fact.
Yeah. And surely it's going to get, you know, you don't call it artificial intelligence now. It's surely going to get worse as time goes on, because it starts scraping from other artificial intelligence sources. Yeah. So we're surely going to get a degradation over time where the inputs are so crap that the output's going to be even worse.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is too, it's just whatever's on the internet. What about what's in this book here? You know, this book or that book or that book. You know, unless that text is freely available that it can access, it's not going to know what's in these books.
Yeah. And let's be honest as well, like, so much stuff is bullshit out there. So much stuff is bullshit. Like, if you were to ask AI about a specific topic, something mildly political, all the papers are full of shit. So it's just going to take what they say as the truth, and it's not going to give you anything. It might have a little asterisk at the bottom saying some people think this, but you know, the majority of what's forced upon us is kind of essentially lies and propaganda. And it's not going to differentiate between that. It's not going to have that sort of critical thinking to be able to analyze it, because half the time when the papers get something wrong, they never go back and talk about it and go, we got this thing wrong. They just move on. They push their agenda and move on. And the AI is going to be trained on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that's why it's not artificial intelligence. It's because, as you say, there's no critical thinking to it. It's all it is an information gathering tool, program, and that's all it's doing. And it probably can do it really well. Hey, Gareth.
Hello.
Hello.
There's a few people I've never met before, which is very exciting. Hello.
Hey, right. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man. I've really been enjoying the chat. So, and Aaron told me this was happening, and happy birthday, mate.
Thank you. Oh, no, it's quite right. Just to introduce you to Steve and John, Gareth is a booktuber, a teacher, and also a musician with the band. So he does all three.
What sort of band is it, Gareth?
Well, and he writes books too, so don't.
Yes, I forgot that. Yes.
Thanks, Sean. The band it's a band called Bemis, so BEMIS, and named after the Twilight Zone. And we've been going for nearly 20 years. We've been next year will be our 20th anniversary. So next year we're releasing our 10th album. So
you know, Gareth, I always thought you all should wear glasses that are cracked and broken when you're playing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that should be your thing.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. Walk on stage with broken glasses. I've been on the stage with broken glass on the stage before, but now that's more of a rough gig.
Oh yeah, well, be behind the chicken wire where people are throwing the bottles.
Yeah, we do country and western. Yeah, that one. Yeah. So, hello.
Actually, mentioning that, we are actually Aussie in Garb August, and Gareth had a story called Itch in the previous Garb August anthology, which I can recommend.
Yeah, you did a lovely review of it. Thanks.
It was a really good story, and I should say, if you want to get hold of a copy of Garbology, you're going to have to search high and low because it's now gone out of print. But I don't know why.
No, I don't know why he did that. Unless he found maybe the rest of his life was too busy because he just stopped the publishing company completely, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which is just weird. But yeah, you have only eBay now, I guess.
Yeah. I've still got my copy, but
yeah, be a rarity.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build up a bunch of other short stories. Actually, I'll probably release a short story collection, but I don't know. I'm in a bit of a writing slump, so I don't know. It might take me 10 years. I don't know, but yeah, I'd like to put out Itch, under my own book. So it's a story about a guy itching a lot. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sounds exciting, doesn't it?
It makes me think of that movie Bug. Have you seen that movie Bug? Freaking. Is it kind of like that?
It's
to go to that extreme. Yeah.
It is quite gross.
Nice.
And yeah, I quite enjoyed writing the last page where it gets really horrible.
So when I was reading that, I was imagining, I won't go into any detail, but brown sugar, liquid brown sugar.
Yeah. I think I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I had in my head, I think I had in my head the last story of Creepshow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the
old
guy in that
the old
tower.
fella and the cockroaches. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing, that story, isn't it? I love that film. Yeah, brilliant film. So yeah, I think AI is shit, by the way, as well.
Good. So we're all in agreement.
Yeah. Actually, on that issue, Steve, that you mentioned about it just regurgitating stuff that's essentially propaganda. About 2 or 3 years ago, they used AI to do some various things. They asked the various questions in, and they put one in about the Uyghurs in China. And the AI just kept reproducing Chinese Communist Party propaganda about them. And no matter what question they put in, it just continued to repeat Chinese Communist propaganda about how it wasn't a genocide, how nothing horrible was happening, it was just sweetness and light and all this stuff. And that just shows the point that with these AI, with these sort of this stuff, you're only going to get out anything good if you put anything good in it in the first place.
Yeah. I love John's point about the fact that if AI starts drawing from all these sources and then starts drawing from AI, then that AI starts drawing from that AI. Just the whole concept's ridiculous, isn't it?
Death spiral, isn't it? Of it, that'll be that.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I do wonder if it'll ever get to a point where it's. I don't necessarily think AI is going to be a threat to any of us in terms of authors, because another book out there is another book out there. But I do wonder if it'll end up being almost like a subscription service where people kind of use AI to create their own stories. So I want to see Jack Reacher and John Wick team up and take on these people with vampires. Write me a book, that sort of thing, and then it'll produce a sort of story like that. I wonder if it'll go that way.
Someone might say, "I want Pride and Prejudice, but with zombies."
Yeah.
That was a good movie. I like that movie.
But there's an issue with copyright as well, isn't there? Because there are people complaining, quite rightly, that AI is drawing from their work, and then they'll find out that I don't know how they know, but they'll find out that their work has been used for AI.
There was a thing recently.
Didn't you?
Yeah, one of my books was in it. There was a thing, and you could type your titles in or your name as an author, and it would tell you if AI had pinched your book.
Really?
Yeah, and there was a letter that was circulating that you had to copy and send off to try and stop them from doing it. There's like a class action lawsuit going on or something.
Yeah, but what about you getting AI to write this mashup, as you were saying, John, and then you publishing under your name or my name? I'm stealing from AI. Does it have copyright? Is there any copyright for AI?
Apparently there isn't. That's one of the things about it is
when it becomes sentient and sends the Terminators after you. Sure, it's copyright. That's it.
Yeah. What's that? Skynet? What? 40 years?
Yeah.
I will make one defense of AI, which is that you can sometimes create very funny pictures. I remember once I did. It was back around Christmas time. I put into the first version of Groke on X, put Wallace and Gromit in World War II, and he brought up these pictures of them, and they're absolutely perfect. They're really funny. I will say, for sort of humorous purposes, just general enjoyment, AI does that quite enjoyably. As long as you're not going to try and monetize it, just it's really good for a laugh.
Well, they could do the voices good. Like there's are sometimes, because I love the one where it's Johnny Cash singing Barbie Girl, and he starts going, I am not Johnny Cash, or this is not Johnny Cash, and then goes and sings Barbie Girl, and it really sounds like Johnny Cash of a certain period. You know, it's that's quite amazing.
I tell you what, I have got a positive AI thing actually. It's nothing to do with creative things, but I was genuinely impressed when I heard about. I had this guy come to the college, and he did this big spiel about how great the AI revolution is going to be, blah blah blah. And he came from another college, and he said that one of the things that his college did was the principal did a video to the new students, and through an AI program. It was automatically translated into different languages for the different international students that are at the college. And the way that those students saw the video, the AI changed the mouth movement so it looked like it was him talking, even though it was the AI that had changed the movement of the mouth. You know, that the guy only spoke in English, but all of these different versions looked like it was him talking. So I think that's pretty impressive. That's a very specific application, but yeah, I was impressed by that. You know, no one's being hurt there.
I think things like that, business type applications or medical applications, even perhaps to speed up a diagnosis, or at least to pull, providing they, you know, you've got someone at the end like, let's just check that, you know, just make sure.
Sure that one that's going around. The guy had high blood pressure. I'm assuming this is true because it's been picked up, but you never know. He asked AI about, you know, lowering his sodium chloride levels, his salt levels, and it said, you know, eat sodium bromide. So he started eating sodium bromide for a long time, and he almost died. But the AI said to substitute it. You know,
Sean, did you hear that? Did you hear that story from an AI source?
Well, it's been picked up on news agencies, but again, you don't know. But like I say, I got the one where I did a search, as I was saying earlier, about radio programs written into books, novelizations from radio programs, and War of the Worlds, Orson Welles, you know, 1938, and then H.G. Wells wrote the novel. And that's exactly what it said.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah.
I've got to say, Gareth, that application for translation might be better than the human one, because I'm not sure if any of you remember Nelson Mandela's funeral and the translator there. And
I don't remember that. It was really bad.
He was doing sign language translation.
Oh.
He wasn't speak. What he was doing with his hands. It was not sign language. It was just complete.
Oh my god!
So you stood looking on the stage, world media watching, and he just going like that.
Well, there's been ones doing Trump, and I think as well, like, and there's been political ones here. I think doing Keir Starmer as well. That they got somebody that was doing that kind of thing and making, you know, rude gestures while they were doing this. You know?
I think, is it Kentucky Fried Movie when there's a guy doing it and he ends up doing this, like I was watching it. I think it's Kentucky Fried Movie. Sorry, Aaron, it's your channel. I shouldn't have done that. I'll do it on my channel.
I seem to remember there was something like that happened during the Cold War, where there were I can't remember which one it was. There was a meeting between one of the Soviet leaders and the American president, and the American president in question could actually speak Russian, and he was working out that his translation was being censored as he was going through the Soviet leader of that.
That's brilliant.
But
You're not
because,
translating me right.
but because of Soviet, because of the diplomatic, sort of the diplomatic code of the time, he couldn't speak Russian.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I suppose there might be AI translators as well for literature.
Yeah, there is because, or well, I'm certain there is.
Yeah.
I was a few months ago. I was searching on Amazon for critical material for Les Miserables, and it came up that it says new translation, and it's not the Christine Doniger one. So I looked at it, and it's some guy. It's self-published, and I clicked on his name, and he's translated like 1,000 books out of various languages. So clearly, something is going on here.
Yeah, and I haven't said translated by AI. They've done that.
No, it's this person's name who may or may not exist. You know?
Yeah, translaty face.
Would that not just be as accurate as Google Translate?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That has its issues. You have to sort of put it in there, translate it, then take the translated text, translate it back to English, just to see.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a minute.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I've done that a few times, and you go, "Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right."
I remember last September. I read a book. It was originally in French, translated into English, and it was translated in the '60s. But if you read it, you could have sworn it was done last year through Google Translate. It was that stilted. Just the story itself wasn't bad. It's just the translation was so bloody awful. It was like, I don't know if describe it as reading it was like trying to wade through porridge.
Well, here's like Solaris, the novel Solaris. The one I read was translated in the 60s or 70s, but there's a new translation that's only available, I think, as an ebook. But I compared, you compare the first paragraph, and if I remember right, it's like the character's walking down a corridor and looking down other areas where there's pods. He's on a spaceship or a station, and there's no one there. But in the older translation, it talks about other people being there. And I'm going, that's very different, obviously.
Yeah.
And because the thing is, the translation of the one I read in the 60s or 70s is it was translated into French from Polish, and this translation is from the French translation, the English translation. So the new one that was done is directly from Polish. I think that's the languages. But anyway, it's like that. That's like all I had to do is read the first paragraph to see there's vast differences here. You know, so how much more throughout the story is this going to be like that? So yeah, translations are interesting. Because somehow, it's like Chinese whispers. Well, I suppose you can't even say that anymore, but it's like, by the time you translate, it's like a degradation of photocopy, as you photocopy the photocopy.
So we all sound like we're kind of on the same page in terms of AI sort of usage and stuff. But what about the actual creative writing? Because you see more and more people talk about using AI to like brainstorm ideas, plot lines, and so on. I saw somebody mention, they go, I don't use AI to write the book. I just use it for editing. I get it to do a first draft first, then I rewrite it. I was like, what? What?
That's madness.
So I think anything, like if Aaron asks each of us, gives us an idea or just a word, and then we each sort of create an interesting plot from that word in a paragraph, each one, he could sit there and go, oh, I like that one. I'm going to redevelop that and maybe add this. So, you know, AI is just like another person to ask, where you could get maybe some different ideas for something and then amalgamate it, which I think is valid and useful. But if you use it whole, then I don't think it's coming up with anything original.
But wouldn't you acknowledge the fact that there'd been some human interaction, or at least some kind of acknowledgement of the credit? So if Aaron had asked us all to come up with some ideas, he would perhaps acknowledge the fact that, oh, I got this idea from Sean, I discussed this with Gareth, I discussed this with Steve, whereas AI kind of
some authors,
that element to it. Or
some authors do, but not everybody, because they'll get it, like, you know, you get an idea, like how many of you have been sitting anywhere, you know, and you hear something, you hear a couple words together, and you know that somebody says, and like, you know, I've written poems from that. I just hear two words, and you go, oh, boom, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm off on a roll, like nothing to do with what they were talking about, but that just got my thinking processes. And I've never said that's where I got it from, because that's where you do as a writer. You I think everybody's a sponge. You pick up stuff and you would adapt it. You hear something or your own experiences, and then you see something else, and then you just that's where the creativity comes. You connect them, and you create something new out of that. But AI doesn't really. It's just
that's the thing. If you're comparing it to the way that we'll create something out of having lots of different influences and saying that's like AI, we are trying to create something original out of it, whereas an AI will try and create something generic out of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you could use maybe AI to spark your creativity. I could see that being useful, but if you use it whole, then it's not, obviously, because you're not actually building. You're just borrowing. You're just taking whatever it says. But I think it's a valid tool as much as asking or listening to other people.
The scary thing, I think, is when I have to. One of the things I have to set my students is to write a song. They have this task where I have to record an original song, and they always, because they're only 16, they're like, I can't write lyrics, you know. And I'll be like, that's all right. I can help you. Two, you know, I'll do some lessons on it, whatever. But if they are really struggling, then, you know, they'll say, can I use AI? And it's really interesting because I looked at AI and I told it to write a song gave it about 3 different instructions, and it just read like a greetings card, right? So I wrote an extra instruction, make it less simple or something like that. And the second draft made by AI was not bad. And I was just thinking, you know, someone could palm them off as their own and say, look, I'm a really good lyricist, because the second draft was all right. You know, you can imagine that being professional lyrics. So I just thought, Jesus, you know, that's so easy to do. Just spend 10 minutes asking an AI program to write lyrics for you, you know.
Well, the better way to do it is just because, you know, however long have people been writing lyrics. All you do is you just go find songs that nobody remembers, and you just copy it.
Yeah.
And I know there has been songs done that way, where they've taken a song that's 130 years old or something like that, and they've just repackaged it and put somebody's new name on it because nobody's remembered that song.
Yeah, well, there's loads of obscure songs from 2 years ago that you can find on the internet anyway.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Do you think this starts to sort of impact, though, on people's ability to develop their own craft as a creative person? And then sort of as that, you know, contributes to the competence crisis that we seem to be having anyway across all sorts of sectors?
Yeah, if it becomes normal to use a device like that, then you're not forcing yourself to make those leaps yourself. So yeah, I think that definitely would end up stunting creative growth, and as Sean keeps saying, it will make things less original. So the least original people, you know, will be coming out of the creative industries. You know, it's just like this is slightly different, but it reminds me of what I always say about the talent shows. You know, like the X Factor and Britain's Got Talent, less so because it's kind of a more variety show, isn't it? But definitely X Factor, they're looking for a specific kind of singer. And people go, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. And there isn't anything horrifically wrong with that. But David Bowie would have failed Do you know what I mean? And when you know that David Bowie would not have got past the auditions, you know that's the problem. So you couldn't. If that took over the industry, that would be an issue. And like AI is kind of a similar thing in the sense that if that became the norm, then that's a problem. As it is at the moment, it's just a discussion point really. But once it becomes a norm, then the really original ideas that could have been out there will stop coming through.
Or it'll be something like, well, that's the thing. But it'd be hard to maybe break in with something original. But it's like everything. Music, as you know, Garrett, has been like this, and books have been. Like as soon as Harry Potter makes a big hit, every publisher wants to publish something the same. They just want a baseline and the same. But that'll sell. But then once somebody else comes along with a new idea, and if it's the right time and the right place and it's the right zeitgeist, that'll take off and that'll become the new Harry Potter.
Yeah, but also when people do want to rip off Harry Potter, sometimes they'll do it in a way that's original. There are sometimes things move about because someone will use what's popular, but they go, but I'm going to do this with it, and that's that sort of human creativity, isn't it?
Well, it's like I just saw a little video. I think it was Jimmy Page talking about a riff that he did, and he's saying most people play it this way, but it's wrong. And what it is, he took Bach's the Ninth Symphony, I think, and just reversed it and played it backwards.
Well, Led Zeppelin are the biggest thieves in the music industry.
Yeah, but what I mean is,
they keep getting sent to court and they keep settling out of court.
Yeah. But you see, he ripped off, and you could say, Bach. Yeah.
But
he just played it backwards.
He ripped off loads of blues.
Oh
musicians. Yeah. There's a great quote. There's a great quote from Jimmy Page when he said, "I can't believe Robert, obviously Robert Plant. I can't believe Robert because half the time he didn't even change the lyrics." So it's him annoyed that it was too blatant. I love that. Change the lyrics, Robert. Yeah, otherwise people are going to find out. Whole lot of love, like one of the most famous rock songs ever, and it's nicked. That's ridiculous. Look it up, John. It's amazing.
I'll have a look at that. Times. Didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, but that's what I mean. But all musicians sort of do that. They'll hear something and like jazz. A lot of jazz is based on classical music. A lot of the early jazz tunes are classical music.
I just think though,
jazzed it up.
I just think though, when you're talking about these examples like that, like musicians drawing on other forms of music and so on, and even us, I think, as writers will do the same of all the books that we've done. I think that involves a level of engagement with the source material. Don't get from just putting in a prompt of write me a story that's like Get Carter or something like that, for example. It doesn't, there's a I think there's just a deeper sense of it, really, a deeper connection to the source material, to the creative process. I think that's a little bit more authentic overall. Because we're all going to have influences and we're all going to have things that we are emulating, but we're not doing it in a cold, calculated way. I don't think.
Yeah, but that's where I think that if you could, with all of that yourself, and then ask AI to do what you're trying to do, and you could maybe get a different direction from that, as long as you don't take it whole. That's the thing. I think it can be used as a tool.
I love the idea that you might say to an AI, "Can you make it original, please?" And they go, "I'm sorry, I can't do
that." Speaking of as a lack of creativity, I think DK has it right here. I wouldn't be surprised in a few years time if we discover AI was involved in this. Quite a few modern Hollywood films, you could imagine they were written by AI. They are so cool.
I think Hollywood's been at it for ages.
There's always good stuff. I know.
I mean, part of the writer's strike was about that anyway, wasn't it? About AI usage of actors, of cutting down the writers' rooms, wasn't it? So they're going to slash the writer room numbers so they can use AI. So Yeah, I suspect they've been doing this for quite some time.
Especially when you see like a modern blockbuster, like certain ones, you're like, oh, they've just put in, do this with a sprinkling of this politics and badass female character. There you go.
I think it would be interesting to use it on, which I'm sure somebody should be doing this, is you get old classic films that there's sections that don't exist anymore, silent film.
Actually,
they could AI could recreate those actors and those scenes. They should be able to do it perfectly, and to make that picture whole again.
Yeah, that's quite cool.
And like somebody should be doing it. If they're not doing it, then somebody's asleep at the wheel.
It reminds me of something else. Actually, there's a channel on YouTube. I won't mention it because I imagine there's all kinds of copyright issues there. At the moment, it seems to be cruising under the radar. But it takes like a lot of forgotten stuff that has been just left, and you can't really find it anywhere. You can find like a crappy DVD copy, which was like a bad version of what you got on VHS anyway, and it's upscaled to 4K through AI. So if there was like an old TV miniseries or old sitcom or something like that that's kind of been abandoned now, and there's no good versions of it, this channel is upscaling it using AI and then putting it on his channel. I don't think it's like monetized or anything like that, but worth looking for things like that because you find some old gems, and it's cool to see it used in that way. I think that's quite a positive way of doing it.
Yeah,
because those things have been forgotten anyway.
Yeah, I think it'll depend on how much you make it better. See, that's the thing. Like in restoration of old films, if you make it too perfect, too clear, then you've destroyed the
life in it.
Because old film has grain, and a lot of people, like, you see these Amazon reviews, you could see grain, you could see haze and all this kind of stuff, and I'm going, that's how it was, but they want it perfectly clear. And once you do that, you've changed the original intent of it. If they had the equipment, they might be able to do it.
That's like when they remaster albums and they make it
exactly
complete the wrong kind of mastering, the wrong mix that the band didn't have originally. Sometimes it's just you've just made this band sound completely different.
Well, just yesterday or on Friday, the 30th anniversary of No Need to Argue by Cranberries has been put out, and there's remixes of stuff. And I tried to listen to Ode to My Family with the remix. It sounds absolute crap, but there's hundreds of comments saying how great this is. It just, they've speeded it up and they've made it like a pop song, and more poppy than anything. And it's no longer somber. It's just crap.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Peter. Stephen, John, and Raz might know Peter's Paul on X.
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, this is also another issue with Hollywood. It's all written by Casey. Yeah.
Well, it's always been like that. I think for films, because by the time it gets to the screen, it's never the same. Like the script is usually never the same as it was when it left the writer's hand. Even if the writer's on hand while they're filming it, the actors want their say in it. The director, the producers, the person who scrubs the toilets, want some say in it.
I think we can see the films that come out that aren't like that, and I think if we support those films, I don't know if you guys saw Sinners.
No, not seen that one yet.
Absolutely amazing film, and that's as much what's going on as well. You see those films crop up, and they're slightly smaller budgets. They can take risks, but what people are talking about is those films that have got such huge budgets that are not taking risks. They want to do it by formula because they think people will see them, and they think that's going to justify the budget. But the indie films or the smaller films are still being made, so we've just got to support them, haven't we? And go and see them when they come out. And definitely recommend Sinners because it's so brilliant.
Right. I'll have to. I think that's gone from the cinemas now. I think, hasn't it? I'll have to wait for streaming for that.
Yeah, it's out. I think it's out on Sky, the Sky channel. So it must be out by Ryan Coogler. His name. I think he did. He did the Creed film, didn't he? Which apparently that must have a kind of a race element to it, like a subtext, because that is what he does. And Sinners is like a vampire film, but it's got so much about, like the main characters, or some of the main characters are Ku Klux Klan members, and there's loads of like brilliant social commentary in it. Really good. They're really well.
Is
written.
it social commentary done well, or is it sort of again just trying to shove an agenda? Sort of.
No.
Standard kind of.
It's brilliantly done. It's very clever, and it's very thought provoking. But it's also a great horror film. So,
I wonder how much now, because there used to be a time, like not too long ago, like a few decades ago, where the big studios would give money for people to make more independent style films, like the Coen brothers. When they were starting out, they were getting money from the bigger places, but they had less interference. And I wonder now, is it still happening with the studios? Because even then, I always thought the British film industry had more independent stuff than Hollywood did. But I don't know if that's changed or anything. I have no idea what's going on now.
I think we had a great independent scene from all the way through to maybe the kind of late 90s, maybe early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably dropped off, or it's less of it now. I think it's still about, places like that, Shogun films, a couple of other the guys that are doing the Foot Soldier films and things like that are going off and just doing their own thing. And you'll get the odd random one that will pop up here and there. But
well,
yeah,
the other thing is that you could the other thing is you could actually film a movie on an iPhone, and I think some of the big blockbusters have actually filmed that. So that's the other thing, I guess, that's good. Sorry, Gary.
No. So I was just going to say that I think because people are going to the cinema less, the cinemas are showing the blockbusters they think are the things that people want to see, and it's the streaming services that are bringing out like the indie stuff.
Yeah.
So if Netflix would probably pay for a smaller film to be made. And do you know what I mean? Like Amazon probably would.
Yeah.
Whereas, like the big companies are thinking that it has to be the cinema, it has to be a big budget, has to be formula. So I think that's where we'd find the more interesting films.
Or even if I suppose even if they didn't pay for it, they're a place where you could sell it, because they need to fill up their hours. So they would take stuff.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of random shit on these streaming services, so I'm sure there'll be a lot there that cost 20 quid to make. But also I would say that one thing I was going to say earlier when I talked about Sinners was the horror scene at the moment is really, really indie led as well. So if you think about the horror films that are coming out, a lot of them are smaller budget and a little bit more strange and quirky.
I just went to see. I saw Weapons last week.
Yeah, right. Is that good?
Have you seen that one? Yeah,
I've heard about it, and that sounds like something. He's an auteur, isn't he? He keeps writing and directed his films, isn't he? Like the guy who did it.
Yeah, I've only known Barbarian is the only other film I've seen of his. Has anybody else seen Weapons?
No.
It was good. I'd recommend it. It's definitely a well put together and quite interesting how he put it together.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely worth a watch if you get a chance to go and see it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really good. That film.
Well,
so they are out there. Just got to find them.
Like that's a thing. I'm sure there's lots of good stuff. It's the same as music and books. It's just how to find this stuff. That's the thing. But the one thing with the streaming services that I find interesting is, and like as much as I don't like Amazon and I don't really care for Prime, but they get these, like it'll be somewhere in, they put money into filmmakers in Prague, say, or something like that. Different places in the world that they're actually putting money into making shows, movies, or TV shows. I've tried to watch some of them. Some of them aren't that good, but it's still an interesting concept that they're putting money into these little places and giving people, as you were saying, Gareth, that they're providing money for these, and I guess that's where the independence has gone rather than the studios. The studios aren't doing it anymore because all they want is just to.
Well, there's probably some small studios, but they're not. They don't seem to be the ones you hear about. The ones that are in cinema seem to be the big films that are made by the big studios. Yeah,
yeah.
But I'm sure there are small companies around, but they got to find a place to put their film, I guess.
Yeah, and then they've got to find funding as well. That's the thing. So, and they, a lot of times, like how many times at the end of a film do you see all these, funding from, all these places? And it's like, it almost reminds me of, what's the guy who made Plan 9 from Outer Space?
Oh, Edward.
Yeah, like, where he got his funding for stuff, it's just like,
Sam Raimi as well. He got like 3 loans, I think it was, to make The Evil Dead, his first film, and he just
a lot of dentists, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's because he really wanted to make this film, and and that's cool, isn't it? I mean,
and the Mafia funded Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah. And Halloween was obviously fully independent as well, wasn't it? And that's changed cinema forever, didn't it? So yeah, these things will come around. I'm Mr. Positive. I'm always Mr. Positive, but I'm starting to think there is a chance for people to make good films.
I think that it just has to, like you say, there has to be, for some reason, something catches people's imagination. It's the zeitgeist, basically, for something to happen. Like you say, Halloween and everything, music.
And sometimes they get really good acclaim as well. Like I recently saw Poor Things. Have you guys seen Poor Things?
No.
It's one of the weirdest films I've seen, but it's completely unique, and that got, like, I think Emma Stone got an Oscar for it, and it got a lot of attention. But I'll just watch that out of curiosity, and it's if you can lock into it, because it is really odd. If you lock into it, it is really unique and different, and very, very indie, and that was recent, and that was had loads of oh my god, look at this film, so yeah, does happen and does get publicity as well sometimes. I probably wasn't in the cinema for long, but there we are.
There's also that element that because you've got those streaming services, they can go around the cinemas and also the distributors. So I think John and Steve will probably know Laurie Brewster, the Scottish horror filmmaker. He's the one who developed Amicus, and he runs a British. I think it's called the Great British Horror Studio. There's an interview with him from, I think, March this year, where he's at the Romford Horror Festival, and he mentioned the fact that the film he was showing there was the last film he's ever going to have to put through a distributor, because he could just put it straight through Amazon or Netflix or somewhere else. That he could put it straight to the audience instead of having to go through distributors who he was. I won't repeat exactly what he said, but he wasn't the most obliging towards them. And so so I think that's another matter of the fact that you don't have to go through distributors anymore. You can just go straight to the audience. So that means you don't have to go into the cinema anymore.
Yeah, well, it's always been that problem right back since the beginning of filmmaking, like of Hollywood. Where do you think United Artists started? Because of problems, distributing. So there's always these problems. It's like, and then something like United Artists become the problem, in a generation or so, and then somebody else has to come along to subvert that,
to freshen it up. Yeah. I expect at some point people will get fed up with A24, but at the moment they're what everyone looks for interesting and new films, isn't it? But some people go, oh, they're just doing themselves now, because they're used to doing what they do. So yeah, like you say, someone else will come along and be the new A24.
Yeah, like the one thing, like I think we're going back about 20 years or so, even before I came to the UK. Anytime I saw a film which I didn't know anything about who these people were, but it said film 4. And usually it was an interesting film all the time. And then when I came here, I find out what it is and everything. And they put out a lot of good films, or they did. But recent stuff that I'd seen, like in the past decade, not so good anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Well, Channel 4 has changed in a big way. When it first started, its whole remit was to be different from all the other channels and be braver, more controversial, more honest, all sorts of things like that. And I think it's just, in a lot of ways, just become an ordinary channel. But that was its remit when it started, you know.
Yeah, and it did a lot of really good, high-quality films with great actors. And that's where I always think of British independent films as stuff like that. In my mind, like more modern stuff is that, because that's where I think there was a lot of quality. And that's where I first saw, you know, Bill Nye, you know, or is it Bill Nye or Bill
Nye? Yeah. There's a new bunch of independent. I'm not a massive like horror fanatic, but I'm mentioning horror again because it seems to be where a lot of this is coming from. Have you guys seen a film called Sightseers?
Oh yeah, I like that one. That was is it Ben Wheatley?
Yeah, Ben Wheatley. Yeah, he's part of a group of writer directors, isn't he? That's kind of doing this new stuff, and that's kind of fully independent, isn't it?
Yeah, he did that. He did Kill List. That was a good one.
That's good. Yeah.
Building weirdly,
England. That was
the Meg too.
So, yeah, when I saw that he directed, I was like, what? I've not seen that one yet,
he was given a load of money. He was like, "Oh, thanks, I'll do that."
Yeah, exactly.
But there was a film that I bought my daughter. I haven't seen it yet, but I thought she'd like it. It was the same group of people. It was about a woman who was pregnant with a creature that was going to kill her or something. Is it? Anyone know this? It's like a pregnant woman. It's like a horror thing.
Was it a comedy as well? When the girl who was in Sightseers was in
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
I remember it being advertised, but I didn't see it. I know about
I haven't
it.
seen it. But again, another thing that's a bit different, and you know, but I haven't seen it. But yeah, so that's really recent, isn't it? That was only like within the last 10 years, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
So.
Sorry, maybe off topic here, but because I've been streaming a few things on ITVX and things like that where it's free, and so they have commercials, and they've been advertising something called Alien Earth. I think it's in this series. Has anybody? I don't know if that's actually going. Has anybody seen that? Or
I've just started seeing the adverts, and I'm like, oh, I want to see that.
I think it's on Disney, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not going to be able to see it, but I was curious about it because the previews look interesting.
I like the last Alien film. I thought it was really cool. The one with the young characters in it. Did you see that? What was it called? Alien.
Romulus.
I haven't seen that one. Yeah,
I gave it a bit of a kicking, mate.
Oh, did you?
On one of these streams, I gave it a massive kicking, so I did not like it.
Okay, I thought it was in the spirit of the original one, at least. But fair enough.
Yeah.
That was your
funny
main
enough, that same stream, Sean gave Aliens a kick in because it was my favourite of the bunch.
Yeah, so. I did not care for it.
Wow. Okay.
I found it too predictable.
Here we go again. Okay. Here we go.
It's all kicked off.
I would love to have seen what is it, the third one with the concept of the with the monks and the wooden planet. I would love to have seen that.
That would have been interesting. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Good. Well, they ended up taking some of those ideas on the third one, didn't they?
Yeah.
And did a really weird ending. Because I think the first half of the third one's really good, and then it just goes a bit mental. But David Fincher, isn't it? David Fincher's the third one.
Yeah. Was that his first film? Fincher's first film?
I don't think so. I think he'd already done 7. I think.
No, 7 was after.
7 was
was it
definitely
after?
later than that.
Yeah, it was 95.
And he not just done videos or so, like music videos.
Yeah, he was a music video guy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he did do.
And that was he was sort of in as like a hand basically. He was you know, and I think they all bullied him. I think he was pushed around by the studio, by Sigourney, by everyone, and it kind of became this compromised mess compared to what he intended for it. There's a really good documentary about it on the special features of the Blu-ray, and probably on the DVD as well, talking about all the behind. He doesn't comment on it, but everyone else talks about it. They get what's his name, McGann. He talks about it quite a lot. He's quite open about what went on.
Is that Paul McGann?
Paul McGann, that was it, yeah. And there's a few McGann brothers, isn't there? I always mix them up. And and there's also two versions on the Blu-ray and the DVD. Is there? Not quite a director's cut. They call it the assembly cut, where it's a lot of the stuff that he'd shot that they took out.
Wow.
There's like substitutions, like the alien. In one version, the alien comes out of a dog. In another version, it comes out of a cow. I can't remember which way around it is.
Yeah, what would you prefer?
So I've watched both now, and I mix them all up in my head. But yeah, that's one of the.
Dog?
I can't remember. I can't remember which one's better. But I do remember that the version that is the assembly cut is slightly better. There's better character beats. Paul McGann's character is in it a bit longer, and he's got a bit more to do with the alien as well. He's like this deluded guy who's kind of helping the alien, which is quite interesting.
Well, you think if the alien came out of a cat, it would have to be really tiny.
Yeah.
With a squeaky voice running across.
He is tiny when he comes out of John Hurt's stomach.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but bigger than a cat, isn't it? Isn't it big? I can't remember now.
Tiny, it's only like that.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, yeah. It's a long time since I've watched these, yeah.
I think I've seen that film about 1 million times.
I will just say here to
like the third one. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it as well. I've got to say, I've still yet to see Aliens. I've seen Alien, and I've seen Alien 3, but I've never seen Aliens.
You need to get on that, Aaron. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
Come join my team, Aaron.
It's really good. In general, it's the most popular one, isn't it? I mean, I like the first one the most, but in general, most people say the second one's the best one.
They're all wrong.
See, no one's mentioned number 4.
Well, I was going to, because I was going to say that I am gutted because the director is one of my favorite directors, Jean-Pierre Jeunet, but it is a mess. It's definitely a mess. You can't deny it's not, but there's some nice things about it, but it is a mess, and it's a shame because he's such a brilliant director.
Is that where Sigourney Weaver's playing basketball at some point? Is that
that's
okay.
it.
I don't really. That's the only thing that I remember of that film.
The whole plot's weird. It's just.
So I don't. Yeah, it didn't make an impression on me. That's for sure.
If you're gonna watch one of his films, watch City of Lost Children. City of Lost Children is a masterpiece, and it's ridiculous. It's completely mad, and it's amazing. Have you seen it, City of Lost Children?
I remember it when it come out. I've never seen it though. Never
So
seen it.
So the general plot is there's this mad professor guy who lives on an oil rig with a bunch of clones and a guy who's just a brain in a tank, right? That's where he lives, and he gets these guys to go onto the mainland to kidnap children so he can steal their dreams because he can't dream. That's the plot. And that's not even the maddest thing about it. It's amazing. And then he did that film, and then he went on to do Amelie, which probably you've all seen Amelie.
I've heard of that.
Oh, Amelie's a brilliant film. It's a really lovely film as well. It's the only film I've ever seen where I watched it and then immediately watched it again. Yeah. But yeah, he did Alien 4. Idiot.
Did that director Gareth do one that's set in post-apocalyptic Paris, and it's about a apartment block, and they've got I remember watching that one and finding that very funny.
Yeah, it's a brilliant film. Yeah, I saw that in my last. I did this thing. I wanted to watch because I'm off work for summer. I'm going back next week. But I decided I'd watch 20 films in 40 days, and because I'm a bit like mad, I watched those 20 films in 15 days. So just kept watching film after film after film after film. And one of them was the newest one from that guy. So from Jeunet, what's it called? Big Bug. I think it's called Big Bug. Can't remember. But that's really it's a really good film. But again, quite mad. But yeah, it's more of a comedy, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the maddest film or craziest, weirdest film that you've all seen?
I've got one. It's a Japanese zombie musical. The Happiness of the Kakachuris. It's insane. It's completely insane, and it's like they've got the funniest dialogue. I don't know if it's the way they did the subtitles or if the original dialogue is that ridiculous, but just none of the dialogue makes sense, and it's so funny. It's really, really funny. So The Happiness of the Kakachuris or Katakuris. Yeah, go watch it, and you'll be like, I can't believe someone's made this film. Japan, innit?
Yeah. Is it all? What about you, Steve?
Oh, weirdest. I'd have to say something. The Room, Tommy Wiseau film. Has anyone seen that?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
You've
I've
not
just seen
that?
the clips, mate, and everything. I've seen it, watched the whole thing. I've just seen the clips, though. But...
Oh, we've sat through the whole thing a few times, actually. We even went and watched it on the big screen with the guy who was in it. He was there.
Oh.
He was doing like a special presentation of it. Not Tommy Wiseau, but the I forget his name now. But he was there, and he had like people come and do some of the scenes with him at one point, and it was very interactive. People were you were given plastic spoons, and everyone threw spoons at the screen. The reason for this, I found out, was that the production was so cheap that there's all these frames in the apartment that the film's set in, and rather than put actual photos in of the characters whose house it's supposed to be, they left in the standard artwork that was in there, which was spoons. And you can see it really clearly on the big screen. So every time one of those appear, everyone chucks their spoons at the screen. It was pretty funny. It's a good laugh. Yeah, it's worth watching. I would never watch it on your own. Watch it with a bunch of people and a few beers, and you're gonna have a laugh.
That's amazing. Is that the new Rocky? Is it the new Rocky Horror? Is it?
It's got a bit of that to it. Yeah, definitely. But it was this total vanity project for this mad European guy, and he creates this awful like love story tragedy thing, and it's absolutely terrible. It's the worst thing you've ever seen by far.
I just remember that bit. Hello, Mark. That bit,
Yeah.
Like, hello, Mark.
Yeah. It's that level all the way. Every single moment is just totally off. He's like an alien attempting to be a human being. The way he acts is bizarre.
Didn't they make a film about the making of the film, The Disaster Artist, or something?
They did, yeah. And it's nowhere near as entertaining as the actual film, I'll be honest. Yeah, just watch the film.
Wow. Have you got one, Aaron?
I can't think of one now. I genuinely can't.
You're too straight with your film watching.
Yeah, probably. I think DK might have one for it's bizarre. I've never seen this. I've never seen any of these films, but from what I've heard, they probably count as this.
Yeah.
I've seen the first one.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, it's just the horror channel.
Wikipedia the second, and I was like, no.
I wouldn't have even seen the first one, but I just like on the horror channels, flipping channels, and I was like, oh, what's this? Yeah. And then after 2 hours, I'm thinking, why have I just wasted 2 hours watching that?
Do you know what? I didn't think it was that bad, as in like all the hype about it. I didn't think it was actually that bad. I thought it was, obviously a bit odd, but fairly conventional.
I thought it was
really,
quite boring.
apart from the obviously stitching faces to, whatever. But
all it is the first one, from what I've seen the scenes of, is the current Republican Party with Donald Trump at the head of the centipede, and everybody else's head is up his ass, each other's ass. That's what it is.
Well, if it is that, it'd be a bit sad because they can't escape and they don't escape. So spoilers. Yeah. So that'd be sad if that's what it is about. Yeah.
DK says the second one is apparently worse. I have no interest in watching these films at all.
I am, yeah. it was enough to read about on Wikipedia what the second one gets up to on it. I was like, no, thanks.
Yeah.
There are quite a few avant-garde silent films that were made, and sadly, most silent films don't exist anymore. But some of these do, and some of them are just absolutely warped. It's like they must have been on mushrooms or LSD or something. Every person that was making it, and it just there's just some really weird ones. I can't. The one I think is The Fall of the House of Usher, and it is the weirdest interpretation that you could ever think of. It's like there's a scene where a woman is, and then the camera's moving all over the place. And she's holding a tray and like doing like a what's her name? Is it Sandra Duncan? No, the dancer to turn of the 20th century. But anyway, she's doing this dance and this casserole dish or something like that, like floating around and doing stuff. It's just absolutely warped. It's nonsensical, but people love this stuff because it's avant-garde and it's just it's warped. Like it's nothing gross. It's just
weird.
What are they doing?
It's just weird.
Yeah, it's absolutely weird because nobody does anything like this, and there's no purpose to it.
So you know where you are with a blockbuster, don't you? Right?
So what was that film you once you said to me was what for years used to be what you thought of when you heard of European films? There was a particular thing about a donkey and
yeah, no, it's like my characterization of sort of foreign films, like non-English films, for a certain period is sort of there was an actual scene in the movie. I don't know what it is, but it epitomized to me in my mind European cinema during a certain period. Is a boss having sex with his secretary on the desk. The camera is still, but it pans across to the door. A donkey walks in. A close up on the donkey. The donkey walks backwards out of the door, and the camera pans back on the two on the desk. No dialogue, nothing.
Genius, absolute genius.
Yeah. and like people do call it that. And I scratch my head and just wonder, what are these people on? I need a little bit of that.
So I've got to look up Donkey Office too.
I think you might end up with a film that was notorious when I was at school, and you probably don't want to.
Yeah,
It should be your job.
You don't want to put Animal Farm in there as well.
Yeah, George Orwell, filthy bastard.
I think since we're going up to sort of 2.5 hours, I think I'm going to bring things to an end here. If that's all right with you.
All good, mate.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks.
well,
Thanks
I
for having
want
me
to say thank you for all of you coming on, as well as to Raz and Rod, who came on earlier. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for coming on. So.
Yeah. Happy birthday again, mate. Thanks for inviting us on.
Oh, thank you.
Enjoyed it. It's been good.
It's great meeting you two as well.
Yes, nice to meet you too, Gareth.
Thank you, mate.
Well, I'll just bring the stream to an end. So just wait a second.